Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're looking at something kind of different.
Yeah.
A screenplay called Heretic. And as always, we like to go beyond just the surface level.
Of course.
So we'll be discussing the film's religious philosophy and also, try to figure out what that ending means.
Lots of layers to peel back here.
Oh, yeah.
Symbolism and thought-provoking themes.
It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
So the script starts off by introducing us to two Mormon missionaries in Peoria, Illinois,
Okay.
Sisters Barnes and Paxton.
Ah.
On the surface, they seem devout, but the writers
Right.
pretty quickly start to hint that there's something more to it.
Right.
Right away we get a conversation about condoms, and then there's this pretty crazy anecdote about pornography.
Uh-huh.
And it seems like they're both kind of wrestling with their faith and searching for meaning in their lives.
Makes you think.
I know, it's like right out the gate.
Yeah.
What did you think of that when you first read it?
It's interesting how they set the stage, Even people who seem super religious can doubt and be uncertain. I mean, is that just a natural part of faith?
Yeah, it makes you wonder.
It does.
And I love the way the script just subtly shows us who these characters are.
Yeah.
So Sister Barnes, she has this edgy questioning side,
Uh-huh.
while Sister Paxton seems a lot more naive.
Okay.
Maybe even a little bit afraid to face those doubts.
Interesting.
It's like they have totally opposite approaches to faith.
Yeah, I see that. It's like two sides of the same coin, right?
Totally.
Two different ways of approaching something we can't fully grasp.
Exactly. And then enters Mr. Reed, the investigator.
Oh, yeah.
He really shakes things up for them, both spiritually and philosophically.
Mhm.
He's not your average investigator.
Definitely not.
He's got all this religious knowledge, and he uses it to challenge the missionaries' beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Even just the way the script describes his home.
Yeah.
It's stark, and there's all these weird religious artifacts.
Creates a mood, for sure.
It really does.
I-
Like, it adds this layer of mystery and suspense.
It's almost like a psychological thriller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally. But it's more than just the atmosphere.
right.
Mr. Reed's arguments really turn the missionaries' worldview upside down.
Absolutely.
He has this radical idea that all monotheistic religions are just versions of older narratives.
Hmm.
And he points out all these similarities between figures like Jesus, Mithras, Horus, and Krishna.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing when you think about it.
I know, and he makes these clever analogies
Okay.
comparing religions to board games and music.
Interesting.
Like they evolve, but the core desire for meaning stays the same.
I see. So even if the forms change,
Right.
we're still searching for the same thing.
Exactly.
But does that make those religious figures less important if their stories have been told before in different ways? Or is it pointing to something deeper?
Right.
A universal truth that goes beyond any one religion?
Those are huge questions.
They are.
And it gets even more intense when Mr. Reed locks the missionaries in his house.
Oh, wow.
He's forcing them to really confront their beliefs.
It's like a test of their faith.
Totally. They're cut off from everyone and everything.
And they have to deal with these heavy ideas with no escape.
Yeah, it's like a pressure cooker for doubt.
Yeah.
And just when you think things can't get any weirder, Mr. Reed introduces his wife. He calls her the prophet.
The prophet.
She's super frail, doesn't say a word, and there's something really unsettling about her presence. Like she represents this unknown realm, like
Yeah.
something beyond our understanding.
The script does such a good job with those visual cues.
Oh, yeah.
Building suspense.
You're always wondering what's going to happen next.
Absolutely.
And then it takes a dark turn.
Oh, no.
Mr. Reed poisons his wife with blueberry pie.
What?
But get this. He claims she'll come back to life as proof of what he believes.
Whoa. It's like he's blurring the lines between faith and delusion.
It really is. So is he just a fanatic who's gone too far?
Yeah.
Or is there something more to his claims?
You can't help but ask yourself that.
I know.
It's like he's forcing a showdown between belief and disbelief, and his wife is caught in the middle.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And just when you're trying to wrap your head around that the prophet seems to come back to life.
No way.
Yeah, I know.
It makes you question everything.
It really does. Is it a miracle? A hallucination? Some kind of trick?
The ambiguity is so unsettling.
I know. But it makes you think about how limited our perception really is.
Yeah, for sure. And then right when you're starting to question what's real and what's not, Mr. Reed finds this implant in Sister Barnes's body, suggesting she might not even be human.
It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
It's such a curveball.
It really is. It's like all of a sudden there's this sci-fi element.
Yeah.
And you have to rethink everything you thought you knew about the characters and even the whole reality of the story.
It makes you question everything.
Totally.
Okay.
And then we get this really interesting philosophical conversation between Mr. Reed and Sister Paxton.
Okay.
They talk about something called the butterfly dream analogy.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, and it really gets to the core of what the film is exploring about reality and how we perceive things.
That analogy always gets me thinking.
Me too.
It challenges us to consider that what we experience might just be an illusion.
Right.
Like, what if we're all living in a dream and we don't even know it?
That's a heavy thought.
It is.
And that's where we're going to leave it for now. We've covered a lot of ground in this first act, from the characters' different views on faith to the mystery of the prophet.
A lot to unpack.
Oh, there's
so much going on already.
I know. But this is just the beginning. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into Heretic, where we'll see what happens next.
Can't wait.
It's going to be a wild ride.
I'm ready.
Buckle up, everybody.
So that butterfly dream analogy, it really sticks with you. Like the writers are messing with us, making us question if anything we see is actually real.
Totally. And as we get into Act 2,
okay,
Sister Barnes, she's desperate to get away from Mr. Reed and all his manipulation.
Right.
She even talks about her own near-death experience. And she basically says that what happened to the prophet, that so-called resurrection, could have just been hallucination.
Which happens a lot in near-death experiences.
Exactly. It's like she sees right through Mr. Reed.
Yeah.
She knows he set this whole thing up to prove his point.
Interesting.
And it becomes this battle of minds.
Oh, wow.
And even though she's trapped, Barnes just refuses to back down.
It shows how strong she is.
It really does.
Yeah.
But the scary part is how Mr. Reed reacts.
What does he do?
He just dismisses her whole experience.
Oh, no.
Uses this idea of memory distortion to say her memories aren't reliable.
It's like he's gaslighting her.
Totally. It's messed up.
It is. It's like he's trying to control her reality.
And it shows how some people, even when there's evidence right in front of them, they will hold on to their beliefs no matter what.
No matter how twisted they are.
Exactly. And just when Barnes is about to put their escape plan into action.
They had a plan.
They did. They were going to use the code word magic underwear.
Magic underwear.
Yeah, I know. But before Paxton can even react, Mr. Reed attacks Barnes with a box cutter.
Oh my God.
It's brutal.
That's intense.
It really is. And it just leaves you hanging, wondering if Paxton can get out of there.
It makes you realize Mr. Reed is dangerous.
Yeah, he's not just misguided anymore.
Right.
He's a fanatic who's willing to kill for what he believes.
That's scary.
And what happens next is pure psychological horror.
What happens?
Mr. Reed tries to tell Paxton that Barnes will come back to life.
Like she's some kind of prophet, too.
Exactly. But as time passes,
and
Barnes is just lying there bleeding,
oh, God.
the tension just keeps building.
You can feel Paxton's fear.
Oh, yeah.
Her friend is dying, and this guy is talking about resurrection.
I know. And it makes you wonder, has Mr. Reed lost his mind?
Right.
Or is he just really good at manipulating people?
It's hard to tell.
He really is. And then he does something truly disturbing.
What's that?
He cuts into Barnes' body.
Oh, no.
And pulls out this little silver implant. And he says that proves she wasn't human.
What?
He says she was a program.
A program?
Yeah, like some kind of computer program.
Whoa. It's like he's trying to dehumanize her.
Right.
To make it okay that he killed her.
And all of a sudden, it's not just a story about religion anymore.
Right.
It's got this sci-fi element.
Yeah.
It makes you question what's real and what's not.
And what it means to be human.
Exactly.
If Barnes was a program, could she even have real faith?
Right.
What does that say about belief?
These are big questions.
They are.
And then, just when you think things can't get any weirder,
Mr.
Reed brings up the butterfly dream analogy again.
It all comes back to that.
It does.
It's like he's saying none of this is real.
Yeah. Or maybe he's using it to manipulate Paxton even more.
It makes you question everything you've seen so far.
I know. We've gone from religious philosophy to violence to this mind-bending sci-fi twist.
This screenplay doesn't hold back.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
And with that implant and the butterfly dream, the story just gets more and more complex.
I can't wait to see what happens in the last act.
Me neither. It's going to be intense.
Yeah.
Going into this last part of Heretic, that butterfly dream analogy, is still bugging me.
Yeah.
It just makes you wonder, is anything in this story actually real?
Right.
Or is it all just some kind of elaborate illusion? And what's going to happen to Sister Paxton now that she's all alone with Mr. Reed?
It got to be terrifying for her.
It really does. You know, she's seen this awful violence.
Yeah.
Her friend is dead.
Yeah.
And she's stuck with this guy who seems to be completely delusional. But even with all that, Paxton doesn't give up. She fights back.
That's amazing.
I know. It's like she takes what she learned from Sister Barnes,
Right?
even in Barnes's death,
Oh.
and she uses it to survive.
How so?
Instead of just reacting to everything Mr. Reed says,
Yeah.
she starts to really challenge him.
Okay.
She picks apart his arguments and shows him where his logic falls apart.
So she's using her mind to fight back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's such a powerful moment.
It really is. It shows how resilient she is.
Totally. And this last conversation between them, it turns into this intense philosophical debate.
Sounds intense.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And Paxton forces Mr. Reed to face the consequences of what he's done.
To take responsibility for his actions.
Yeah, and she shows him how empty his justifications really are.
So powerful.
There's this one part that really stuck with me.
What's that?
Paxton points out that even if everything is just an illusion like in the butterfly dream,
Right.
our choices still matter.
Of course.
Our actions have real-world consequences. It's like she's saying, you can't just use philosophy as an excuse for murder.
She's calling him out.
Yes, she is. And Mr. Reed, he can't argue with her logic.
And so what happens?
He gets desperate and offers to show Paxton God.
What?
Yeah, but only if she dies first.
Oh my God. That's creepy.
It's so creepy.
It's like he's completely lost it.
I know. It's like he really believes that death is just a way to reach some higher truth.
It shows how dangerous these belief systems can be.
It really does. How people can get so caught up in them.
And how easily people can be manipulated.
Exactly. It's like he's trying to pull Paxton into his crazy world.
Where death is something to celebrate.
Right. But Paxton, she's not buying it.
Good for her.
She's seen what Mr. Reed's beliefs really lead to.
Yeah.
And she knows his offer is not a path to anything good.
It's more like a path to madness.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And that's where the script ends. We don't know what happens to Paxton.
Oh, wow.
Did she escape? Or did she get sucked into Mr. Reed's delusion?
It's a cliffhanger.
It is. It's like the writers want us to keep thinking about it long after we finish reading.
To come up with our own interpretation.
Exactly. Heretic is such a unique story.
It really is.
It makes you think about faith and doubt and the darkness that can lie inside people.
Makes you question your own beliefs, too.
Yeah, it does. It makes you wonder what's real and what's not, and to be careful about people who think they have all the answers.
And how far people will go to defend those answers.
That's a great point. We started this deep dive by talking about religious philosophy.
Right.
And we ended up in this whole discussion about the nature of reality.
It's been a wild ride.
It has been. But it's been so thought-provoking.
Yeah.
I hope everyone listening has had a chance to think about these ideas too. What parts of the story stood out to you? How do you interpret that ending? Let us know. We always love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, keep those minds open and keep questioning everything.